Have you ever been in a car or just walking around and you accidentally swallowed like a whole bug? No? Me either, because I walk around with my mouth closed. I don't understand what is it with people walking around with their giant mouths open. Of course, bugs are gonna fly right in. I mean, it's like this huge target. Please shut your mouth. Nobody needs to smell that disgusting coffee breath, okay? Anyways, all jokes aside, in today's video, I thought we would switch it back up. This is probably one of my favorite video series to work on. I know I've said this before, and I always say that I love watching the creativity of the community, but it honestly, it's all true because I love watching stuff like that. Like OMs usually have like baselines, they have guidelines, and they have people that they need to appease and keep happy. Whereas in these like customizers, they can do whatever they want. They can manufacture a really cool intricate custom or something offbeat that nobody would ever do, no other OM would even touch. And so it's really cool to see stuff like that. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some of the best custom Marvel Legends out there in the wild. It's about creativity. Some of this stuff is a little bit weird. Some of it probably we would never purchase, but it's just cool to look at and admire from afar. The first one, probably the most interesting one that I've ever come across, and I'm not sure why it popped up, and I'm not even sure why somebody would go through the trouble of making this figure, but we do have a custom Donald Trump action figure. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I could care less about politics. I just thought this was really cool. He has those big giant like dilated pupils. I'm not sure why that is. Like his eyes are about to just jump out of their sockets. But it's really cool. It comes in like, I guess like a Sam Wilson new Captain America Marvel Legends packaging. And then it comes with a Captain America shield. And it does come in that bodysuit. I'm not sure which one they're using. They could be reusing that Happy suited body mold. Regardless, it's just something cool that I thought, you know, it popped up in my search results. And I don't know, I thought it was cool. And honestly, after that entire Secret Service debacle, maybe a Captain America shield wouldn't be a bad idea. He could probably deflect bullets with it. Anyways, all jokes aside, it's a cool figure. If you guys are interested, you guys can pick it up. Or if you hate Donald Trump, you could still buy it and like make the figure do weird things. I don't know. It's really up to you once you buy it, but I just thought it was pretty cool. Anyways, moving on to the next custom, or I should say the next couple of customs. I did run into this Wolverine with a tiger pattern. I have to say this looks brilliant. It definitely looks like this customizer went out of his way to like take the figure apart, because the butterfly joints and all of the articulation seems to be painted on. So my guess is this customizer went in there, actually took the figure apart, painted every single piece, and then put the figure or reassembled it, which is absolutely insane. I can only imagine the amount of effort that it took to put a figure like this together. If that's something that really interests you, they also have, which I guess is more of like a kit bash, because according, or at least in the description, the customizer does mention that he used a kit from somebody else to put this figure together, but it's essentially like a tactical assassin Wolverine. I don't think that it's based on anything from like the comic books or any, you know, series or film. I think it's just kind of like something that the customizer put together, and it's definitely very intricate, very detailed. There's always something to look at. I love the pouches draped around the shoulders. As I said, I personally don't feel like this is accurate to anything, but I just like the concept. I like the idea of like Wolverine becoming some sort of assassin and taking people out. I don't think we've ever seen him in like, you know, tactical gear, so I think this is one of the more unique customs out there. Somebody also posted this baby Deadpool action figure, and I absolutely love it. I'm not sure if it's technically an action figure because it has, at least from what I can see, almost no articulation or very minimal articulation. It appears there may be a ball joint at the head and then a ball joint where the arm attaches to the torso, but that's it. There's no like butterfly joints or elbow joints or knee joints or anything crazy like that. It's meant to just be a display piece, and I absolutely love it. It looks actually pretty accurate to its live action appearance, I guess, to an extent, or as close as it can look. The scaling is a little bit off compared to like a normal 6-inch Marvel Legends Deadpool. I do feel like it's a little bit big, especially the head. It looks ginormous. I've seen babies with big heads, but never quite like this, but like I said, it's mostly meant as a display piece. It really fits in if you're trying to like flesh out your Deadpool multiverse display. And it's always a good idea to go on eBay to look up any Deadpool variants, because there have been people out there that just do like repaints, or they'll do like a little kit bash with a Deadpool, and it'll definitely stand out as like a completely different looking Deadpool. And it's cool, like I said, if you're looking to add variants to like a Deadpool multiverse display, for sure. And if you guys have ever watched any of my videos, you guys will notice that we're doing things backwards. Usually I start off with the custom accessories before going into the actual custom figures, but today we're switching it up. So we're going to finish it off with the best custom accessories. And I didn't want to just throw anything into today's video. I could have easily done that, but there were some customs or some custom accessories that I've either kind of talked about, or they were like too similar to things that I had mentioned in previous videos. So I wanted to keep it fresh. I wanted to keep it interesting, and so I decided to kind of keep it a little bit short when it comes down to the custom action figures. Moving on to the custom accessories, I did run into this really cool money throne. It's essentially a bunch of cheddar, a bunch of lettuce just stacked on top of each other to look like a throne. And then I suppose it's scaled better with the 1/12 scale action figures, so the 1/10 scale may be a little bit too big, but I really like this. It's a really cool display piece. You can have a lot of fun with it. You can definitely take a crazy amount of pictures with this. I absolutely love it. The price point is a little bit high. You're looking at like about $80 once you consider shipping and taxes and all of the fees, but it's something cool, something fresh, something definitely innovative. I don't think that I've ever seen a money throne as a custom, at least on eBay or, you know, other websites, maybe on social media, but I'd never seen anything like this. It's really cool. I'm assuming it's probably made out of like foam, so it may not be like the most durable material, but that's usually what happens when you're going through like custom accessories online. They just don't have the best, you know, material to put these type of collectibles together, but it still displays incredibly well. If you guys are interested, it is now up. I also ran into this really cool battle damaged Wolverine head sculpt, and the price point is definitely very reasonable. You're looking at about like high 30s, maybe like $35, $36 once you consider taxes and everything. That really isn't that bad, because I have featured some head sculpts in some of these videos, and they can range anywhere from like $30 to $60 to even $70. So this one being kind of the lower end, I think it's very accessible, and this will look phenomenal on any Wolverine Marvel Legends action figure. And I'm actually very surprised that Hasbro has never taken this idea of a battle damaged Wolverine head sculpt, or just in general. I would love to see like some flesh getting ripped off, or like some bones sticking out. Wolverine has always been a comic book character that gets in the trenches, that gets into people's faces, and just gets into some pretty epic battles. So I'm a little bit surprised that Hasbro hasn't done something like this, but it's cool to see it on the third-party market. I also ran into this Venomized horse kit, which looks absolutely brilliant. It's already painted, it's already sculpted. All you have to do is port it onto your DC Multiverse horse. McFarlane has already released this horse a handful of times, so you should have an extra one lying around. And just to clarify, only the Venomized accessory pieces are included in this particular kit, not the horse itself. You would have to actually have an extra one to port these on. You would probably have to paint the horse. I know it's been released in different colors. I believe the Dark Knight Returns one is black, but then there are other versions that may be like tan or a matte brown, if I remember correctly. Regardless, you will be able to port these on. Something really cool, and by the way, we just saw this in a live action film trailer for the newest Venom film, and to think that the community has already put this together is just absolutely insane. It's also worth mentioning that the price point is pretty fair. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's like the cheapest accessory out there, but it's still readily affordable. And if you really stop to think about the amount of effort and time that goes into something like this, I think it's relatively fair. It also appears that this is a customizer with quite a bit of experience, so I'm sure that this particular customizer can just go back in there and 3D print some of these out, paint them and then seal them pretty quickly, and then have multiples of these available for his customers. So I don't think there should be any fear that they, you know, completely sell out in the foreseeable future. It appears that he's able to keep up with the demand for this particular kit. And I can't say enough about how brilliant that head sculpt looks. A lot of great detail, and this is definitely going to stand out in your display. And by the way, I really like that this goes together with the DC Multiverse horse, because it adds a little bit of size. Usually that horse was meant for 1/10 scale action figures, which usually range about like 7.5 inches, whereas in the Marvel Legends line is usually a lot smaller, closer to like 6.5 inches. So there's definitely a difference there, but it's going to make this Venomized horse that much more of an imposing figure in your display. Lastly, I wanted to talk about something that's not really an accessory and not even an action figure. It's more of a little diorama piece. There is a customizer that is offering this tiny little diorama set for a very affordable price. You're looking at maybe like $45, maybe $50 with everything included. That's an absolute bargain. We usually talk about customizers upcharging for a lot of their work, but this is definitely not the case here. They did a phenomenal job just sculpting, putting a really cool wash, and just overall weathering the piece extremely well and making it look very realistic. And it doesn't necessarily like constrain you to the 1/12 scale. I think you could easily fit different types of scales as long as they're within like that 7 to 6 inch range. And I've kind of already touched on this, but if you ever find yourself looking for really good diorama pieces online, you're going to be paying quite a bit of a hefty price point, whereas in here you get quite a bit, especially if you're constrained by a very small budget. It's also worth noting that the seller actually made a point of emphasizing that this particular diorama set will come with those accessory pieces on there. Sometimes a lot of these customizers will just throw in accessories just for the sake of the picture here, and they won't actually be included. But if you're interested in this particular diorama piece, everything that is pictured aside from the figures will be included. So you will get that barrel as well as that fire hydrant. And it's definitely clear that this particular set isn't meant for like really big scenes with a ton of figures or even deluxe size figures. It's meant for just like smaller little scenes with maybe 1 or 2 figures, maybe just for some photography, or if you want to do some reviews in front of this particular diorama set, I think it would just be perfect for that. And very similar to some of the other listings, this is clearly a very seasoned customizer. So if you are looking to pick one of these up, you should never really be too worried about it selling out. The customizer seems to have a pretty good amount of experience. They can just go back in there and craft a couple of these for any new customers. But as I already said at the beginning of the video, I didn't want to stretch this out, make it too long. I want to start condensing these top custom videos a little bit more, because they do tend to run a little bit longer than I would like them to, but it's just so much fun putting these videos together for you guys. As always, let me know your thoughts down below. Have you ran into any real cool customs online recently, or which one of these really draws your attention the most? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, stay tuned, because we are starting to upload way more consistently over the past like month or so. I do want to get to a point where we upload like maybe 4 to 5 times on a weekly basis. It seems kind of difficult, but I want to challenge myself a little bit more. So as I said, if you do enjoy this type of content, make sure to stay tuned, subscribe, and just keep up to date with the channel. Stay safe out there, and as always, the most important part of all this, enjoy the hobby, enjoy your figures, pose them, and just have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.